Welcome back. I'm here with a great artist known as Jed Henry.
Hi.
This is him. Haha. And he specializes in traditional Japanese woodblock prints or paintings.
Prints, definitely.
So just walk us through a little bit of how you came to create Japanese woodblock-based video game prints.
Yeah. Well, it starts back when I was a kid. I grew up in a rural part of the United States, and I didn't really know...
Middle of nowhere.
Yeah, totally middle of nowhere.
Totally middle of nowhere.
I didn't know anything about Japan or Japanese culture or anything.
Right.
But I played video games, and I knew I liked them. And
the good old NES, SNES?
Yeah, those were the days.
Yep.
And so growing up, like I knew that there was this interesting culture, and it was somewhere across the ocean. It made this stuff. And but I didn't know it was Japan. I was that dumb. But
you didn't flip it over and say made in China?
I don't know, yeah. Or that the credits were all Japanese names at the end.
Right.
Still, I was that dumb. But anyway, long story short, I recently, as I was growing up, I learned, more about Japan, and I became a big Japan nerd. And so my art is kind of that same sort of a journey where I take a contemporary Japanese pop culture item, usually manga, video games, and stuff, and then I take that and I push it back through an older art style, like 1800s or 1700s. Ukioye style, and it's kind of the same. Looking at my pieces, I hope is kind of the same sort of journey that I went through as a kid.
Right, because as I'm looking at each of the prints, they're very retro-esque stuff that came through the NES, SNES, but then you have a little bit of modern stuff thrown in.
Yeah.
Is that just for the con, or do you tend to do a line where you do focus on more modern type games or pop culture tropes?
Yeah, well, there's an emotional reason for it, where like I'll just do anything that I think. Brings me jollies, as it were. And then there's also a business reason that, conventions like this just have lots of, a big range of age in attendees. And so
12-year-olds to 90-year-olds.
Right. So I want to appeal to the people who love, Avatar, Attack on Titan, etc., but all the way back to people who, were kids in the 80s and the 70s. Right. So, yeah.
I just want you to do a Pitfall Harry one.
That'd be
amazing.
Yeah. So, yeah. That's probably never going to happen.
Never going to happen?
Yeah. I usually focus on things, pop culture subjects that are pretty obviously Japanese in nature. Pitfall's pretty general. Feels actually kind of American.
So no Frogger then?
No, probably no Frogger.
No Pac-Man?
No.
So just stick with Mario, Kirby, Star Fox, Mario,
Nintendo
classics.
I'm kind of a Nintendo whore.
Okay.
Yeah.
So walk me through, how do you create a traditional Japanese woodblock print?
Yeah, good question. If you go to our YouTube site, you can actually watch the videos and see how it happens, but I can also try to paint it with words.
Yeah, paint it with words.
Okay. So I'm the designer,
right?
And I have a partner across the ocean in Tokyo who is my printmaker. And so I do all the actual, just the drawing, and then he does the craftsmanship, the actual printing.
Right.
I get out my Japanese brush, I do the design, I scan it in, I'll do all the colors and stuff in Photoshop, and then I'll send that mock-up over to him. And that's really what it is a blueprint.
So it's very labor-intensive.
Oh, yeah, it's intense, yeah. And then I send it to him, and then he has to hand-carve every different, a woodblock print is made by pressing like a stamp, almost like a wooden stamp against the paper.
So kind of like screen printing then, where you have different layers and different inks, and you just run it across the screen.
Yeah, it's just like one at a time.
One at a time.
And so instead of silk screens, we use blocks of wood that have been carved like stamps.
Okay.
So my partner hand carves them and then does all the hard work.
And then you ship them back here for us to enjoy.
Here. Yeah.
Perfect. So what's your YouTube channel called?
Oh gosh, do I have a YouTube channel? If you look
or the website. What's your website?
Yeah, ukioyeheroes.com.
Okay.
And that's spelled UKIYOE heroes.com. And here it is right there.
Right there. All right. We've been speaking to Jed Henry. I'm Patrick, and we're out.